Hello, Katie.
Hello again.
Are you ready to do some rigging?
Yeah, I'm really excited to rig the character.
Yeah, so here we are in Cinema 4D again, and we have our character. We've been doing some little adjustments on the geometry, making sure that everything was working well, but basically this is where we are. Remember that it's not looking really smooth because we have to put it inside the subdivision surface, and then we get that lovely smooth body. But that's where we are right now.
Right.
And in order to activate the rigging, we're going to do it with the automatic modes inside Cinema 4D. There is a way of doing it in which we do everything completely by hand. But in this tutorial, we're going to jump a few steps by using the Toon Rig. That's how they call it. It's a cartoon rig for Cinema 4D.
Okay.
So we go into the character mode. And here you see we can select character. And inside the character tab, we have a lot of different templates. You can see that they have some fun templates like quadruped, if you're making a horse or a cow, reptile, wings,
Oh wow.
a lot of different.
A car?
Yeah, insects. There's so many of them, but we're going to use the Toon Rig. That's giving a lot of opportunities for tutorials in the future. For now, we're going to use the Toon Rig, and let's see how it works. So the first thing we need is to measure our character. Do you know how to measure the character?
I do actually. We should do it with a cube.
Yeah.
So we can check the dimensions of the cube against the dimensions of our character.
So let's see there. We put the cube at the bases, and the cube is 2 meters high, 200 centimeters, and it looks that's
Oh yeah.
more or less the height of the character.
So it's kind of a tall character.
It's quite a tall character, but the important thing is that we have a character between 150 and 220 centimeters. So the scales on all these character rig work. So we're gonna click root, and then we're gonna click spline. I'm inside the build mode because we are building our Toon Rig. So we can click the root and the spline. And after saying that, I said that we were gonna measure the character, and they didn't apply the height, so it's too short. So let's go Control Z and Control Z again, and let's go to the basic, deactivate the auto size, and it was a character for only 1 meter high. That would be more like a child. So we're gonna do 2 meters, and I'm going to go to root again and spline. As we can see already how the top of the head
Yeah,
is matching the top of the head. So that's much better. And then if we click on arm, we're only making one arm, and that's not what we want. So we're going to press Control at the same time and generate both arms at the same time.
Okay.
And they are going to be as well symmetric. If we change one thing on one, is during the building of the rig is going to affect the other. And now we go back to the spline, Control Rig on the legs, and there we are. There's the possibility of making a face rig inside, but as we said in this tutorial, we're not making a face rig. So the next thing we're going to do is in adjust, we're going to adjust all the components. So
okay, those are those little circles there.
those are the little circles. So the program might look very automatic, but in reality, we are going to have to say where our character is. And because the proportions are not like the normal human, you can see that the hands right now and the arms are in a very different position. So let's modify that. The first thing we need to select is the spline. And you see, I'm accidentally selecting the geometry at the same time.
Oh yeah, of your character.
Yeah, if we don't want to be selecting the geometry, we could use layers. But my favorite way of doing it is adding rigging tag, no, simulation. Where is this? In render tags, no, it's in programming tags. There it is, interaction. Okay. So we're gonna add an interaction tag, and we're gonna say that disable viewport selection. We're gonna activate that. That means that now if I click, I'm gonna put it as well on the subdivision surface. If I click, I cannot select the geometry.
That's useful.
It's simply that. Remember to deactivate it later if we want to select the geometry. So now we're gonna go back where we were before with my character. I'm in adjust, components, and I can click on the different points. If it's not selecting, I press shift at the same time, and now we can select the spline, and I'm gonna move the spline up.
So this is the hip, is it?
Yeah, spline, hip. And now I'm going to move the chest. I'm moving the different elements, and this is the head. So I'm moving different. This is the head one, and this is the top of the head. So if I can select the head, I can scale it down so it matches the top of the head on the beginning. Actually, this should be a bit higher, I think, because there's another point for the neck. So the point for the neck. And if everything is moving together, you see that now I moved the top ones and I wanted to move the neck.
Yeah.
If I press 7 at the same time, I'm moving an object without moving their children.
Ah, okay.
It's a little trick for Cinema 4D that can work every single time.
I can see, because otherwise right now when you move that chest one, you're also moving the arm. And when you move the
Exactly.
shoulder, you're moving the rest of the arm.
And it's quite annoying. Yeah. And before I continue, I'm going to do one thing. In my topology, I'm going to go and check my topology. And I can see that I don't have that many rotational points. And for this outer rig to work well, Cinema 4D recommends to have at least 10 rotational cuts in the arms and 10 rotational cuts in the legs. Right now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we should have a few more. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to the camera front. No worries, what we've done so far works well, but we want to not to have to do it twice. So I'm going to get rid of half of the points here. You see, I'm selecting half of the points. So now I have half of my object. So when I do changes, I'm going to put it into the symmetry again.
Oh, that's quite a good trick.
Yeah.
I can imagine if a client or someone suddenly wanted to change halfway through. Or...
Yeah, you can re-put it in the symmetry. So I'm going to do a few more cuts, just to more or less have the same distance. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm going to select loop selection here. I'm going to put this one a tiny bit more here to generate.
So they're a little bit more evenly spaced.
Yeah, evenly spaced, exactly. And I'm going to put this one there. And that's quite evenly spaced. I'm going to do the displays. That's quite good. Not perfect, but it looks, there's nothing extreme there. And let's do one more towards the end. It's going to help us a lot to generate more detail when the arm is going to be bending. So inside mesh, cut, loop path cut. Let's make another one there. That's good. And let's do the same here. So we can add a few more cuts, a few more there, and then add another one there, and another one there. I'm adding a bit more geometry, so the program is going to work much better like this, okay? So now we're going to go inside symmetry again. We are going to re-put our symmetry, drag and drop our retopology inside the symmetry, and we rebuild everything. Select them both, connect and delete, and there we are again. And now I can put that inside the subdivision surface, and we can tell that it's working completely fine, you see? So that's all perfect. If we put in the view, that's where we were before. So let's continue now with our spline, and let's continue adjusting. If you remember, we were adjusting the components, so we continue adjusting components here. The next thing I'm going to adjust is going to be the arm. So I'm going to select the beginning of the arm. This is the wrist, and I'm going to move it.
And should these components be going inside the geometry?
Very important for them to be inside. In theory, they should be exactly in the middle, in the most middle point of the geometry. So we should go around and try to find the middle point, and that's where they should be. Very important that they are inside. Thank you for reminding
well,
us.
It's a little difficult to see, actually. You do need to move around quite a lot to
make sure. Yeah, you're completely right. Okay, I'm gonna be going around, and this is a bit of patience that you need to have right now, adjusting different components, making sure everything is well inside and aligned. So take your time, do it slowly, go from the biggest point, so the parent of the point, to the smallest one. So you will start from the chest, then you will move to the beginning of the hand, and then slowly go and generate points on every single finger. And we see that with this rig, you see that they have space for 4 fingers.
Oh yeah, like a normal human.
Like a normal human, but this human only has 3 fingers. So what we're going to do is going to get that point, and we're going to take it out.
Oh, just put it outside.
Put it like that, okay. So it's not affecting our geometry.
Oh, poor finger.
Yeah, but it works much better if we do that. Because if not, it would be affecting and deforming things that we don't want. So let's make sure that all the points are inside, but the ones that we don't want to be affecting are not. So we're going to continue here. I'm going to put this point. I'm going to put it all inside and rotate it so it's all inside.
Well, even if this is a bit painstaking. It's nice to think actually it's working in a symmetry on the other hand as well.
Yeah, that means it's half the work
Yeah.
that
If
we
you're
need to do.
following along at home and feeling a bit
Yeah,
daunted by this sort of thing, it's only half the job.
yeah, exactly. That's the beautiful way of seeing it. Okay, that looks good to me. Let's see. I'm going to continue rotating. That looks fine to me. Yeah, everything looks nice and inside. Maybe this point, the beginning, if I press 7 at the same time. Oh, maybe it doesn't work with 7 here. But I can lower it a bit and then put up all my points. Let's see if it works. Oh no, it's not letting me. So I'm going to go a bit back. Put it a bit up. And I'm going to lower. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put higher these points. Because I don't want to, I want to make sure that I have all my things aligned in the middle. I don't want problems later on because my objects were not in the middle. That looks better to me. Maybe this one can go a bit lower. And I can rotate. That's fine. That looks okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks nice and in the middle.
That looks nice and in the middle. Yeah. And maybe this point can be a bit lower. With 7, I'm gonna lower it. And there. Oh. Okay. And let me see this one. Okay, and this one is affecting this finger, so it should be more here. Okay, that's good. Sorry for taking a bit of time, but it's better to do it well and then having to be suffering. So the next one is the pelvis. The hip can go quite high, surprisingly. It's go more like that. And the pelvis needs to be at the beginning of the geometry. And now this one that says the thigh. So the thigh, we're going to put it around here. And you see this thing moving here? That's the pole. That's indicating where the knee is pointing at. And we're going to be able to adjust it later.
Okay.
So the pole is quite interesting. It's a very cool way of animating when we are doing IK, we call it, which is inverse kinematics. And in the next lesson, we're going to explain a bit about what is all of that. So for the foot, we have the specific order in which we need to adjust the elements. So the order, how was the order?
So we're going to start with the ball twist.
Okay, let's find the ball twist. Ball twist is here, so that's the first one. And we're going to have to put the ball twist at the beginning of our object. Let me see if it lets me, it's not letting me move it. Okay, but I think the ball twist is where it should be.
And then we've got the ball rock inner.
The ball rock inner?
So this is what's showing on the side of your foot. I guess, do you call it like that in Spanish, the ball of your foot?
I think so. I don't know how is the name.
It's the kind of colloquial word for that.
And then the ball rock outer?
Exactly.
Okay, and then
we've got the heel.
Okay, and then the heel. Here it is, the heel. Okay, that looks good. And let's see if we can adjust this one. Does it look that we can adjust this one like that? Let me see. And the 7 with there. And let's put that there. I think that's fine. And let's select now the point here in the base of the foot. And we are moving this entire thing. I think we are fine now. Let's hope that everything is fine. Everything is correct.
It's so funny how much is done by eye again.
Yeah.
Something that you think is completely automatic, but you have so much is up to you as the designer and the animator.
Yeah, to decide where things go and how do they go, yeah.
And I guess as the students make more and more of this, they'll go learning as they go as well. So.
Yeah, they'll do their own versions and discover how to do it. Okay, so I'm going to deactivate this. I want to make sure that my arm is, the beginning of my arm is there, working well with my retopology. So I'm going to select loop selection. I'm going to select these points. I'm going to move them a bit together, and I want to move them in the middle of that point. I want to have a point
In the middle of
in
two
between two.
loop selections.
Yeah, and then I want to have this loop selection again and put it more in the middle, because then when we adjust the weights, and I explain the weights later, that's going to help us a lot. And now this one, I'm going to do the same. I think the knee could be a bit lower. So I'm going to go to object selection. I'm pressing 7. I'm going to lower it. And I think the knee should be between those 2 points. Okay, that's fine. Let me see. That's fine. That's correct. And that's looking good. Okay, I think we're ready. So now after having done this, we're going to go to display. And what we need to do now, we have the retopology. And we're not going to use the head because the head has too much geometry and it would generate a bit of a mess. So instead of a head, for now, we're going to generate a sphere. And we're going to put this sphere a bit as a placeholder.
Oh, okay, just so it doesn't look weird. Or...
Yeah, so it doesn't look scary. We have this head, and that's going to generate, but then no worries, we're going to be able to substitute it. So I'm going to put this head there, and I'm not going to put it together with the retopology because I don't want to affect one another. But in the spline, the last thing we want to do is adjust the controllers. So the controllers is going to be how we control the character. And right now, some of them might be a bit too small. So we can go there and scale them. They're all fine, but you see this cube is better if we can see it a bit better.
So that's the controller. So that's when we come to start moving the rig around. That's what we'll be using to move them.
That's what we're going to animate, exactly. And it's gonna be...
And you want them to be on the outside of each of the objects.
Yeah, because sometimes if we have the geometry there, it's going to be difficult to know what's happening. So
just so we can see them better.
Yeah, I think that's going to be much better to know what's going on. Okay. Perfect.
And you can see now how many things we're going to be able to affect as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And I don't know why I'm not seeing these controllers from this finger being very well. So if I go to the components, something happened, you see?
Yeah.
At some point, this
finger got a bit lost.
Yeah, that finger got a bit lost. So I'm going to rearrange the fingers there. Maybe if someone was watching the video, they saw when I accidentally moved that. But neither you or me realized that was happening. Okay, let's adjust there. That looks fine now. It's good to see if you see any mistakes when you are aligning things later in the controllers. That means that things were not right. You see that now the controllers align much better?
Yeah,
that's a good sign.
You can see them surrounding it.
We see these controllers outside. That's the finger that we are not going to use. But the other controllers are all working fine. And I think then if I go back to my spline, if in my controllers there, yeah, maybe this could be a bit closer to there because it was feeling very, very, very together. So let's go back to the controllers, and that feels better to me.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're still making adjustments.
Yeah.
After the section of the components.
Yeah, you can always revisit and check adjustments. So this one, the cube, if you want to find it, if you scale it, that's there. Okay, and now we scale it up.
That was so lost in the big leg.
That was lost in the big leg, yeah. And there it is. And I think the ones here are fine. And now the only ones that we can maybe try to check are some of them are hidden inside here. And we have some of them that do different things. We'll check them later what they do. But for now, we are only scaling them and to make sure that all our controllers are visible. Okay, that's good. That is good. That is good. Perfect. I think we're almost ready. Okay. And the only thing I'm going to do is lower this one. And now, when I'm ready, I'm going to go to binding. Binding is going to mix the rigging, because right now the rig, if I check it, if I try to move it in any way, it wouldn't do anything. It's not ready.
You can't select it there. Yeah.
We haven't even selected, and right now it's not affecting the geometry. What we need to do is drag and drop the retopology and the sphere, which is the new head. And you see that the skin appeared. So now we have a skin that is being modified by that. So now if we go to the spline again and we go to the animate tab, technically it's going to work. So in the next lesson, we're going to talk about how it works And it's very exciting because we're going to see how this automatic rig works, and also how to do corrections on the weights to make it work
Okay.
very well.
Well, fantastic. Well, see you in the next lesson.
See you in the next lesson.